Stir-fried broccoli is one of the classic Asian recipes to cook at home. We'll go through the common mistakes that home cooks tend to make and how to avoid them, as well as a step-by-step guide on how to get everything from that crisp tender bite to that garlicky umami taste. This is an easy recipe on paper, but there are many steps that we need to get right, and I'll explain to you each one of them.
Now, the most important thing is to choose your broccoli well, but don't worry, I'll walk you through what to look out for step by step.
There are many factors to choosing a good broccoli, and I like to look out for color, compactness, the stem, the cut end, and smell. Color-wise, you want your broccoli to have a beautiful deep green hue. Good broccoli may also have hints of purple and blue, and this is from a natural pigment known as anthocyanins. While it will have no noticeable difference from a taste perspective on the broccoli, from a nutritional standpoint, anthocyanins are antioxidants, so they can be good for you. What you do want to avoid is when your broccoli looks yellow and sad. Yellowing indicates oxidation and age. Not only will you lose all the health components of your broccoli such as vitamin C and antioxidants, the natural sweetness of your broccoli will also start to disappear and the bitter notes will increase. For the florets, you want them to be tight and compact. Tight florets suggest a younger broccoli with a better texture and a sweeter taste. Loose or crumbly florets, however, indicate that the broccoli is over-mature and may soften too quickly when cooked. Now, you can do what I call the agitation test. Gently rub the broccoli florets against your palm. If the broccoli is fresh, there should be little to no floret crumbs. In contrast, the florets of an older broccoli will crumble just like this. For the broccoli stalk, it should look fresh, smooth and taut. When feeling the stalk, it should be firm with a slight give. When you press it gently with your thumb, there should be some resistance, but it should not compress. If it's too hard, that means the broccoli will give you a fibrous bite, but if it's too soft, that could indicate excess internal water which can lead to a mushy texture. When looking at the cut end of the broccoli, it should look bright and fresh because this will suggest a recent harvest. A dried or cracked end with a brownish hue will indicate an older fibrous broccoli. When you smell your broccoli, it should smell clean and neutral. If it smells sour or sulfurous, that means the broccoli is already degrading and you want to discard it because those unpleasant aromas will contribute to a bad tasting dish. To wash your broccoli, you can wash it whole with its head under a running tap. Let the water flow through the crown by rotating your broccoli so that the water passes through the florets. With your fingers, you still can gently rub away any surface dirt. While this will suffice most of the time, if you're actually worried about excess dirt or insects being trapped in the broccoli, then you can actually grab a bowl of water and add 1 teaspoon of salt. Next, give the broccoli a few swirls in the salted solution and dunk it up and down a few times to help the salted solution penetrate the florets. The salt in the water will actually help encourage any insects that are present to dislodge themselves from the broccoli. And of course, the soaking and gentle agitation can help play a part in removing any excess dirt. So leave your broccoli to soak for 5 minutes and then lift it out, allowing all the water to pass through it. Take a look at the before and after. The image on the right, which shows the water after the broccoli has soaked, is a little bit dirtier and cloudier. And for good measure, we can rinse the broccoli under running water just like before. To cut your broccoli, grab a paring knife and slice this along the stalks. Doing so will help you get nice individual florets. Now, because we want to ensure that the broccoli cooks at the same time and they are in nice bite-sized pieces, we want to make sure that each piece of broccoli is about the same size. So if your broccoli floret is too large, then turn it upside down and use your paring knife and cut it halfway through the stem. Thereafter, you can break your broccoli into 2 pieces by pulling them apart with your fingers with a satisfying snap. What you want to avoid is slicing your floret through with a knife. This will cause your broccoli florets to crumble, leaving behind a mess.
Now, when it comes to the stems of the broccoli, don't throw them away, they can be eaten as well. In fact, they're my favorite part.
To get to the delicious center core, the outer layer of the stem is where most of the fibrous tissue sits. With a peeler or knife, remove the tough outer skin completely. Stop when you reach the fresh center core. Don't forget to cut off the end of the stem as well. Once you're left with the center core, you can slice this into strips. Now here's a tip. Because stir frying is such a fast and intense way to cook, in order to allow our broccoli to cook evenly and properly, we want to blanch them in some boiling water. However, since the temperature of the water will drop the moment you add your broccoli in, try to grab a large pot and fill it up with enough water so that when it comes to a boil, it's able to actually have enough thermal energy to sustain a boil when you add your broccoli. So bring a pot of water to the boil and add 1 teaspoon of salt. Since your broccoli stems are hard, we're gonna blanch them first in the water for about 1 minute. Next, add your broccoli florets into the boiling water for about 2 to 3 minutes. If you're worried about the water losing its boil, then add your broccoli in batches. Once you're done, fish out your broccoli with a strainer and then allow this to steam dry. So spread them out over a wire rack and give each individual piece enough space. When done right, your broccoli should be partially cooked and it should turn greener as well. The green color from broccoli comes from chlorophyll, which sits inside the plant's cells. When heated briefly, the cell walls will start to break down, allowing the chlorophyll to reflect light more clearly. This of course helps to improve the visual appeal of the dish, but if you actually boil your broccoli for too long, your broccoli will not only overcook, the chlorophyll will also break down, causing an dull looking broccoli. To avoid this mistake, you can always use the stopwatch so you can know how long it's been. Now, one common mistake that home cooks tend to make is that they don't dry their broccoli enough before introducing it to the wok. This will cause the excess water to turn into steam, and this will ruin the stir fry. So if steam drying is not enough, you can always try using a towel as well. Now, you've also probably seen some recipes online telling you to actually shock your broccoli in ice water. While this helps to prevent the broccoli from overcooking, I find that this actually causes the broccoli to drop to lower temperature, and when you add it to the wok later on, it can also affect the temperature of the wok, and this will affect the final outcome of the stir fry. In addition, unlike before where your freshly blanched broccoli can also steam dry, it is a lot harder for you to dry your cold broccoli when you fish it out of the ice bath. The key to a good stir fry is high heat and low moisture, so icing your broccoli makes it harder to achieve both. So in general, I only like to use an ice bath if I know I'm not going to be stir frying my broccoli immediately. It also doesn't hurt that skipping the ice bath makes the cooking process a lot easier with one less thing to wash up. For aromatics, we'll need 5 cloves of garlic and 1 slice of ginger. Remove their skins and give them a light bash to release its flavors and give them a good mince. For our sauce, we're going to be using some chicken stock. I'm going to use the homemade chicken stock that I made from chicken bones. I'm going to leave the video recipe in the description below. Of course, you can use whatever chicken stock that you can get your hands on, but homemade is always best. So to 4 tablespoons of chicken stock, let's add 1 teaspoon of light soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of oyster sauce, and 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing cooking wine. Next, we'll add half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Once you mix it all together, you should get a nice brown sauce like this. One thing to note is that cornstarch does not dissolve in water. So you notice that over time, the cornstarch will sink to the bottom of your bowl. This will happen no matter how hard you stir and is normal and expected. So remember this, when you use the sauce later on as you stir fry, make sure you mix it well together again before you add it to the wok. If you skip this step, when all the starch is added together at the same time, they may actually clump up and that's going to be a terrible mess. And here's a bonus tip. If you can, try to use a bowl with a spout like this because it will make pouring the sauce a lot easier. Before you start your stir fry, make sure you have all your ingredients in front of you. Since everything is going to come together really quickly, you don't actually have time during the cooking process to reach out for something that you forgot. So heat your wok on high, and once it's hot, turn off your heat and add 2 tablespoons of oil. Now turn up your heat again and add your minced garlic and fry this for about 10 to 20 seconds. Next, add in your minced ginger and fry this for another 10 to 20 seconds before adding in your broccoli stems. We do this for 2 reasons. As before, because your stems are tougher than the florets, you want to give them enough time to cook. In addition, since home stoves are not as powerful as commercial ones, adding your broccoli in batches helps to prevent the wok from dropping in temperature too much. You want to make sure you maintain a high and consistent heat. After about another 20 to 30 seconds, add in your broccoli florets. Toss everything well for about a minute before adding about 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine along the sides of the wok. As the sides of the wok are hotter than the center, it will actually allow the alcohol to flash off immediately, releasing its aromatic compounds into the food. Make sure you don't add the cooking wine into the center of the wok. As there's food already sitting in the center, that means moisture is already present and the temperature is lower than the sides. So if you pour your cooking wine into the center, the liquid will pool up together, the alcohol will not evaporate fast enough, and the ingredients will absorb a raw alcohol flavor. This can give the dish a harsh, boozy taste, which is something we don't want. Before we add our sauce, as I explained earlier, make sure you get a good mix so that all the cornstarch can distribute evenly. So here's what I like to do. Instead of dumping all the sauce in at once, I like to add my sauce in batches. This helps us to maintain the temperature of wok that we talked about so much in this video, and it also allows us to adjust the taste of the dish. If you find that your dish is salty enough, don't force yourself to use everything. By now your dish will be done, so turn off the heat and serve.
So here we have our stir-fried broccoli with garlic. While in theory this sounds like a very simple dish, as they say, the devil is in the details, and we just ran through a whole list of different considerations and techniques that we can apply to make this dish the best that it can be. Visually, the beautiful green hue of the broccoli florets has been preserved, and the sauce just coats the entire broccoli. There are bits of ginger and garlic sticking to the broccoli as well, so when you take a bite, you taste everything. Aroma-wise, it smells so fresh and delicious, and that's why I love stir frying as a technique. When you stir fry your food, it's such a hot way to cook that you actually preserve a lot of the nutrients because you don't cook it too long in the wok. And when you eat it, it's actually really healthy for you. And now, time for the taste test. Texture-wise, the broccoli is crunchy on the outside and tender on the inside, and that's when you know you did it right. The garlic and ginger balance the taste of the dish very well, and because we actually used our homemade chicken stock that we made in a previous video, there's a level of depth that the chicken stock adds to it that you can't really replicate anywhere else. And because of that, that helps the dish taste a lot like what you get in the restaurants.